Now let's bring in the former House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi. Madam Speaker, thank you for joining us this morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Of course, you were in the Capitol on January 6th. What's your reaction to this new reporting from the special counsel's investigation?
Well, George, thank you for the opportunity to speak on this. We didn't realize when I accepted your invitation to be here that this other testimony would be revealed at this time. What's interesting about it all is that in every case, every piece of this, whether it was our case in terms of the Electoral College, whether it was what happened with the January 6th committee, select committee, or this testimony now, is all coming from Republicans. In the select committee, except for maybe the poll workers, and I don't know what party they are, all of the other testimony came from Republican officials, Republican staffers of the president, and now further to that. So it's very clear what happened that day. And at that same time, from the undisclosed location, Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell and I were begging the administration to send the National Guard. We spoke to the Army, the Secretary of the Army. Well, I don't know, it takes time, and I have to talk to my boss about it, his boss being the acting Secretary of Defense, who that one thing and another. So it took hours of what we have seen transpire, hours where we saw people going under the dome that Lincoln built. Lincoln built the dome during the Civil War. People said, don't build the dome, use the steel and the person power, the manpower for the war. And he said, no, I must show our resolve and our strength to build the dome. And to see the Confederate flag under that dome, to see the disrespect, they're coming a bullet in my head, hanging Pence, and the president being so casual about it. So it'll be interesting to see how we proceed. But remember this, whether it was our testimony for the Electoral College case, whether it was what the January 6th committee put forth, and what you're hearing today, overwhelmingly coming from the Republicans.
You've pointed that out, yet new polls show that with the passage of time, more Republican voters have accepted Donald Trump's lies about that day. They're less likely to say President Biden's win was legitimate. They're less likely to say Trump bears responsibility. They're less likely to say the rioters were violent. How do you explain that, and what can be done about it?
Well, the 28% is the 30% that believe Trump no matter what. But again, the fact is the narrative on this is becoming clearer and clearer. And whatever those people, for whatever their attitudes are to other people, whoever they are, God bless them. I wish them well. I wish they would accept the facts and the truth. But Trump was a president. People believe a president when he speaks. That's why I was so glad that Joe Biden yesterday at Valley Forge, a bulwark of our strength during the Revolutionary War, where President Washington consolidated the strength of the troops, the unity of the troops, the immunization of our troops to go forward to win the revolution. And here our president was at that location telling the truth about what happened on January 6th from a president of the United States. So it's a challenge that we have in our country, and it's a reflection of we have people who don't want to believe the truth for whatever attitudes they have otherwise. But again, during this period, this campaign year, it behooves us to speak with respect for all concerned in a unifying way to bring people together. But there is no way that anybody can think that that assault on the Constitution, on the day of that law says we're supposed to accept the certification of the Electoral College, the Congress, the caucus, the Congress, the Capitol, the Constitution, it cannot stand. He is not above the law, and it remains for the courts to settle that. That's not up to us. It's up to the courts to settle that.
Yeah, of course, you have the trials that could take place with Jack Smith's investigation. You also have the Supreme Court taking up this challenge to President Trump on the 14th Amendment. Do you believe that Donald Trump engaged in insurrection?
Yes, I think that he engaged in insurrection. I think that he incited an insurrection. And again, that he would not stop what was going on. As his own people said, this is your legacy. Smoke coming from the Capitol is your legacy. Yes, I do believe that. And it is a most unfortunate situation. Our founders knew that we could have a rogue president. They didn't realize that at the same time we could have a rogue Senate and Congress. I do think that when, after all this happened, poop on the floor of the Congress, defecation, blood, disrespect for the people who maintain the Capitol, coming after Pence, coming after me and the rest, the great majority of the Republicans in the House voted not to accept the results of the
Madam Speaker,
College.
if you believe he engaged in insurrection under the plain meaning of the 14th Amendment, you believe he's ineligible to be president?
Those laws, those are up to the states. They have different laws from state to state. I don't think he should ever have been president.
It's the Constitution.
But nonetheless, there is a view of the Constitution in Article 14, Section 3, that he should not be able to run for president. But that's not the point. The point now is that, again, different states have different laws. We don't think in California that it applied. In our state. That's what the decision was made here. But anyway, not to go into that because that's very intricate. What is very clear is that the American people want us to honor our oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. Being from Baltimore, I'm proud of the national anthem, and in it, it says, "Proof through the night that our flag was still there." We have to prove through this campaign in the night that our flag is still there with liberty and justice for all, and not have an acceptance of Confederate flags under Lincoln's dome, with a president sitting in the White House doing nothing to stop the violence, He talks about the big steal as he engages in the big lie.
I want to finally ask you about the situation at the border. We're seeing this surge in border crossings over the last year. Your successor, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, brought a delegation of House Republicans down to the border this week, and here's what he had to say.
You couldn't just reform the broken asylum process and allow this parole system to remain broken. You can't just build the wall without ending catch and release, without restoring remain in Mexico. These are the policies and the provisions that, again, had stemmed the flow in the previous administration. We know what works. It's not rocket science.
How do you respond to that? And are you confident a government shutdown over this issue is going to be avoided?
Well, we can't have a government shutdown. Let's be grown up about how we deal with our responsibilities. But I will say this, and it was said in your preview here. The president has put forth a proposal in the supplemental to address the concerns at the border, and the Republicans will not allow that to be brought up. They reject his solution to it. We have to be very careful. When I first met the speaker, was right after he made his acceptance speech, I said to him, you quoted Ronald Reagan in your speech. I want to refer you to Ronald Reagan's last speech as President of the United States. He said, I want to communicate a message to a country I love. He talked about the Statue of Liberty and the importance of immigration to our country. So we have to handle this with care. We must secure our border, that's for sure. There's no question about that. But we also must honor our responsibilities in terms of asylum and the rest. And the president has that in his proposal. And what they say is, oh, it won't make a difference. No, it will make a difference. Let's get the job done. Let's do it soon. And we certainly are not going to shut down government.
Madam Speaker, thank you for your time this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you. Happy New Year to you. And a healthy one, too.